My name is Bola Omoyele. I'm a professional MMA fighter, and in my spare time, I run two businesses. One in South Woodford called Absolute Caribbean, a restaurant, and another one in Finchley called One to One Car Rentals. I was 28 years old when I started MMA, and I think, age is a factor depending on, what kind of attributes you have. I come from a sporting background anyways. So at 28 years old, I was kind of reaching my peak physically. So for me, it wasn't much of a factor. But for a normal person, I'll say MMA, you're better off starting in your early 20s. And the future prospects, that's the kind of age they're starting at right now. And in business, there is no limitation as to age when you start. You can start at any age. A typical day in my life starts with me waking up as early as 7 a.m., either doing a school run, which sets off my day, then heading to the gym for my first practice of the day. Usually starts around between 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m., and sometimes I do double sessions, sometimes it's just single sessions. Then after training, I just eat and then head towards my business life, whether it's the restaurant or the car business. But predominantly, I take care of the restaurant more. Being an entrepreneur, what I've learned the most about myself is that, with hope and perseverance, I can do anything that I put my mind to. And you just have to keep following your dreams and whatever you aspire to do. If I had to pick a song that describes my work ethic, I think it would have to be Davido. I think it's called Bola Omoyele. Life is all about the money. Yeah, give me the money. And that song in English, it means the rich or the wealthy are gonna enjoy life, and the previous rich and the old people, their time's up basically, and it's for the new era. But bearing in mind that it all comes with a price, and the price is working hard and dedicating yourself. Nothing comes easy. When you make it, then you can do what you want. I'd say my work ethic is all or nothing. In my craft, MMA is grueling on the body, and it can be grueling on the mind as well. So you got to put your 100% in practice, mentally and physically. But at the same time, you got to be smart. You got to know when to train and when not to. You have to measure each day accordingly. So without no work ethic, you ain't gonna see the results. And I think that goes to say in many things in life. Wherever you put in is what you get out. The kind of child I was when I was in school and in the classroom, I think I was the joker. I was a bit of a class clown, if I like to say, But nonetheless, I still got my work done at the end of it, and I think it's important to still have your child in you as you grow up, because life is too short to be just 100%, serious every single day. There's a time for everything, and you got to put that into accordance with your lifestyle. To get the best in my craft, apart from learning the basics from whoever your teacher is, like obviously I've got several different teachers in my sport, because MMA that's why it's called mixed martial arts. I've got a boxing coach, I've got a BJJ coach, a jiu-jitsu coach, I've got a wrestling coach, and I've got an overall coach, a head coach which oversees my development in those three areas that I just mentioned. So to get the best out of it, other than those coaches, you've got to sit down in your own time and do your own learning. It's just like when you're in school. You get to learn from the teacher, but at the same time, to be an expert at whatever you're learning, you got to go home and do your own revision. And that way you get to improve each one of those aspects of your game. So for instance, if I'm learning boxing, there's no point in just doing the 1 hour session, going home and that's it, forgetting about it. You know, repetition makes perfection. So when I go home, in my own time, I can go online and look at various techniques that I've learned, how I can improve, where I'm going wrong, you know, and add to my game. So it's very important to be self-taught as well. I like to use sport, you know, because this is where I'm coming from, but it also helps you in normal walks of life. I'm not the best businessman there is out there. I learn from people that have smaller business than me, people that have bigger business than me. You know, there's always something that you can learn, and whatever you're learning, you can always look it up via the internet or via reading books and improve your business. Every day we're improving in life, and we're trying to improve. So that's about it. Having a team in my area of sport is very important, because Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't built single-handedly. It's very important because you can't see everything that you're doing that's good, and you can't see everything that you're doing is bad. So it's very important to have people around you that would be honest with you and tell you the truth. You know, surround yourself with a good team. They're gonna tell you when you're doing good and when you're doing bad, and it's all positive. Whether they're telling you you're doing good or they're telling you you're doing bad. So very key to have a good team around you. Secondly, you still need that self-drive and that self-motivation, because sometimes, you know, your team ain't gonna be there for you as you need them. So you got to be independent in situations too. So self-drive and motivation is key as well, and they work hand in hand. My moment of wonder, actually I have two moments of wonders. My first moment of wonder was for MMA. I was on holiday. I was in America, Atlanta, in 2008, and I was in a shopping mall, just doing a bit of shopping, and I saw an advertisement, a big poster, you know, in the middle of the mall, and it said UFC on it, and it was advertising a fight that was actually happening that week that I was on holiday, and it was Rashad Evans versus Chuck Liddell. I never knew much about MMA up to that point, apart from, you know, I knew one or two people that said they used to do it, but I actually thought it was like a bunch of underground, like pikey sort of fighting. I never knew it was actually a sport. So I asked the concierge, one of the concierge there, is this for real? I actually thought it was WWE. I thought it was fake. And the concierge guy told me, no, it's actually real, you know, it's combat sport, real fighting. And I said, okay. I took the number down, went online, bought 2 tickets, one for my friend that night, and we went along to the fights, and I just fell in love. From the first fight, I think there was 12 fights that night, and I watched from the first fight all the way to the main event, and that was it. I just fell in love with it. When I came back to England the following week, that's where my search began, in order to find a place where I can train. And that's where I found my gym, Titan Gym in North London. That was the beginning of my MMA career. Secondly, my second moment of wonder was from the age of 17. You know, there was a cry out for exclusive Nike Air trainers. You know, my generation at the time, we was all buying £100, £200 trainers from a friend of mine's shop in Bethnal Green called Meter Sports, and you know, it was almost like a competition, who's got the latest Nikes, etc. I went to America, and bear in mind, I knew that, you know, everyone always wants the newest trends and the newest Nikes out. And whilst I was doing a bit of shopping with my cousins out there, I said to myself, you know, I got a bit of change here. I saw the prices of these trainers, and I compared them to what I'm used to paying for. So I thought, okay, let me see how many pairs I can buy. You know, I had a bit of money on me. I ended up buying about 14, 15 pairs of trainers, and there was some of them on special offers. You know, you can buy one, get one half price, etc. Those days there, the pound was strong against the dollar. It was double those days. So my money stretched out long. So coming back to England with my 15 pairs of trainers, you know, getting stopped at customs and that. I just told them it's only, it's for friends and family. They let me go. I was only 17, 18 years old. Let me go. I ended up selling all of them within 2 days, and the cry for more was crazy. So, the demand, supply and demand. I ended up saying to myself, wow, I more than doubled my money. I ended up booking another flight 3 months later, went back to America and done the same thing, but on a bigger scale. That was my moment of wonder into business life. Letting go of fear is very, very important in anyone's life. And for me, the fear of taking risks and not doing things that my heart desires is led me to achieve all the things that I've achieved today. And I still have no fear in pursuing the future goals that I've set to myself. And you can't be fearful. You have to be mindful, but fearful, it should not be a part of your. You can have butterflies in that. I wouldn't class it as fear. Fear is when you're scared to do something. I'm never fearful before I go into a cage and I fight. I'm mindful of what can happen, but whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. So fear's got to be out the window from the get-go, and you got to transfer that into your business life as well. I've got a car company, I've got a restaurant. They ain't the first 2 businesses that I've had. I've been involved in various businesses before, and if I was scared, I wouldn't have even attempted to do them. And you just, if you're doing business, you can't be fearful. You got to take risks, and sometimes it's gonna be successful and sometimes it's not. But you just got to go for it. And if you're confident in your work ethic, the fear goes naturally. How I maintain the positive of knowing where I am now and where I want to be is by separating the two. There's no point of chasing the dream where you want to be and where you are at present. If you confuse the two, then you can find yourself chasing in circles. You need to separate the two. I think personally, where I want to be is 15 years, 20 years time. You got to be realistic. A lot of people mix the two up and they want to be successful now. There's a time. If you look at every single successful person, it wasn't done in a space of 5 years. Successful people that we look up to of today, they're always in their, predominantly in their late 40s, 50s, even 60s and older. So I think as a young entrepreneur, you got to maintain your goal and your drive. You got to deal with the present. If you deal with the present, no matter how long it takes, by the time you get to your goal of success, it might take you 15 years, 20 years. But it's not gonna happen overnight. I'd say unless you've got an invention or something special came your way, it takes at least 10, 15 years before you get, if you want to be rich, before you get rich. And before you get successful, the same thing. It ain't gonna happen straight away. You gotta maintain the drive. You gotta work with today. Work for today. Put the effort in for today and tomorrow, but not for expecting that you're gonna be successful tomorrow. It takes time. If you keep grafting, before you know it, you forget that time's gone. Then when you look back as to how much graft that you've done, you're gonna look back and say to yourself, "Wow, is that how long I've been doing this thing?" Then you look at yourself at that future present, and you see your success. But it's not gonna happen overnight. You gotta keep grafting and just have tunnel vision. That's what I do. I've got tunnel vision. I've set my goals, and I realized this from a young age. From when I was 18, 19, I thought to myself I was gonna be a multi-millionaire by the time I'm 20, 25. I made a lot of money when I was in my early 20s, but by the time I got to 30, I turned around and I said to myself, I'm not a multi-millionaire yet. I I actually felt it from when I was a young age that this was gonna be me. But in life, now I'm older and I'm more experienced in life, you gotta say to yourself, things happen in between. In between your road to success, things happen. So you've got to make sure you put this in the back of your head that things are gonna happen. But at the same time, carry on grafting, and eventually you're gonna get to where you wanna get. But don't put a time limit on it, because nothing is gifted and nothing is guaranteed, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. You could be chasing success and you might not get there. You know, we can't predict what's gonna happen tomorrow and what God has ordained for each one of us. But what I do know is that if you put in the graft and God has said that you're gonna be on this earth till that time, then you will make it, no matter what. That's what I believe. A special quote that I will never forget and I've always lived with is, it comes from my father, rest in peace. He used to always say from a young age, I used to hear him say it from school days, reap what you sow. When I was in school, I never understood, I never actually asked him, Dad, what's that mean, reap what you sow, you know, from 10, 11 years old when he used to say it. I just used to hear him say it a lot, you know, on the phone, say it to us. I never actually asked him. But as I grew older and I started learning and reading, you know, I started understanding what he meant. And reap what you sow, that's always gonna, you know, that's my motto now. It's always, and it's such a fact. Whatever you put in normal English terms, whatever you put in is what you get out. You see it today, you know, people see athletes and they only see them when they're at the top of the mountain, when they're holding up a belt, or when they're, you know, when they're successful. But no one ever sees the graft they put in. No one ever see how hard Michael Jordan used to work. No one ever see how many hours David Beckham used to put in after training, before training, the first on the pitch, the last to leave. You know, but people only see the success story. But he's sowed the seed and he's reaped the rewards. This goes to business life as well. Everyone pick a successful person and put it in your mind. You ain't seen what they've actually put in, the hours of work that they put in. You know, no one don't see that. People just see the end story. But believe me, you got to put more hours in than what you're gonna get out. My name is Bola Omoyele, and you've just seen some of the wonders that got me here today in this position.